He was talking about the proposed mosque now near Ground Zero, and O'Reilly
in an inartful way.
Right. He said Muslims killed us on 9/11, and that's where that started.
Humans killed us on 9/11. You know, I think that Bill, a dear friend to me, and he's been extremely loyal to me the years I've been here at Fox. I've known him 10 years before that. Whoopi, I've known for, a quarter of a century as well, Joy Behar. I think that Bill was extremely clumsy in his characterization of why the mosque should not be near Ground Zero. I think Bill was himself a pinhead in his expression, and Bill recognized the inartfulness of his characterization and apologized for it. And I think in many ways this issue was resolved. Should Whoopi and Joy have walked off the set is another issue. I think that if
you never
Bill,
walk off your own show.
If Bill admits he's a pinhead, that's a good.
You have.
If Bill admits he's the pinhead, they have to admit that they lacked the gracious. They were not gracious hosts.
Geraldo?
And they were, in walking off, they did something.
The name of the show is The View.
They were as silly as Bill in many ways, but they pointed to the conflict in the.
He only missed one word. Muslim extremists killed us on
Well, that's a big difference.
They're not just human beings. They're not just human beings.
But the comparison they use, and I think, Brian, it is absolutely correct, is the abortion bombers. They don't say Christians blew up the abortion clinic. They say crazy people or extremists did it. You can't, and that is part of, the noise that is causing Muslim Americans to feel besieged and beleaguered and being singled out.
You equate abortion bombers to Al-Qaeda?
Do I? Why not? Aren't they? And the difference between an abortion clinic bomber and Al-Qaeda is that there are more people in the Twin Towers than there are in the abortion clinics, but they are as in every way as innocent as
Geraldo, I would argue that Joy and Whoopi knew what Bill O'Reilly was saying, that he missed the word extremist, but in the context of the discussion, he was describing that extremist Muslims were responsible for 9/11.
Well,
and the show is supposed to be called The View.
Bill is coming on in 20 minutes.
You're supposed to be able to be classy enough to sit down and listen to different views.
Bill is the debate became extremely impassioned. Bill and I have had famous nose-to-nose confrontations where I came as close to walking off as I did to punching him in the nose or being punched in my nose by him. Right. I mean, these are, this is a debate that is extremely visceral. It is impassioned. People hold very strong opinions. And, they're there.
That's it.
This is as close as I ever came to a fist fight that I didn't actually. I stayed in the chair, but I almost leaped on him, and so did he, pointing with that big finger of his. Okay. That O'Reilly finger. I'm going to bite his nail.
I'm going to watch you,
Oh, when he comes on here, I'm going to point. I'm going to take you out. I'm going to prove you around.
Hey, Vince McMahon, I'm going to watch you on Saturday at 10 o'clock. Your mind.
You better watch me or I'm going to kick you.
What was your final take now that it's been almost 24 hours?
Well, I guess, I'm a little discouraged with the liberal point of view as espoused by Geraldo just a few minutes ago on Fox and Friends. I mean, I'm a little bit tired of this, that somehow the left wing in America will not come to grips with the fact that there is a problem in the Muslim world.
Yep.
There's a problem, all right? We're fighting them in Afghanistan, fighting them in Iraq. We might fight them in Iran. They cause trouble, they being Muslim extremists, all over the world. But after 10 years, I think any intelligent person knew what I was talking about in that mosque debate.
Yep.
But they want, all right, they being the far left, I would say, but even Geraldo, they want you to be politically correct in defining a life-death struggle. Mm-hmm. And I'm just not going to do it anymore.
Sure. But then after Barbara took her co-host to task, she kind of was trying to call you a pinhead for saying that in the first place.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, I think Barbara is entitled to her opinion. If you think I'm a pinhead for trying to tell the truth about a situation and remember why we were even discussing this. My thesis, backed up by the polls, says that President Obama has separated himself from 70% of the American public in this issue. Okay? That's why we're talking about it anyway. But if Barbara wants to think I'm a pinhead for the way that I presented the material, I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah, but Bill, wasn't
She didn't leave.
Wasn't she didn't leave. But let's turn the tables here for a minute. What if President Obama had been on that show, or any other high-level Democrat, and he had gotten into a screaming match with Elizabeth Hasselbeck, and she had gotten up and left? She would have been fired, probably, right?
No, I don't know. I don't like those hypotheticals. I think that there is a very serious issue here. The American left, and I'm generalizing now, I think it's probably more accurate to say the far left, does not want to confront what we have to confront in America.
Geraldo, Karl Rove.
You're in the Geraldo
Yeah.
chair.
Yeah, I'm in the Geraldo chair. I'm on
Carl,
the right.
Do you
of
see a
the-
bigger issue than just a bunch of women that don't like Bill O'Reilly?
No, I do think he's right. There's an insensitivity on the left. There's an attitude towards civil discussion that you can't have it with a conservative. You have a conservative viewpoint. It has to be dismissed. It has to be discredited. I thought Barbara Walters did a very remarkably good
She
thing.
did.
She chastised her colleagues. She also gently reminded Bill that he needed to say Muslim fanatics or Muslim extremists. And then when she did that, they came back on because I think they understood right away this was a mistake. Bill had won the debate the moment Joy Behar got up and walked off.
How great was it, Bill, that you said
let me
go?
submit something. Let me submit something here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the Muslim extremist thing, unfortunately, in my naive state, I assume people know that almost 10 years after
Right.
this
Yeah.
attack.
We've been saying
I've been saying that.
repeatedly.
Right. I mean, I assume that that is now ingrained. And I will go back to World War II, the analogy I made on the Factor last night. We didn't say Japanese extremists attacked us at Pearl Harbor. Okay? And believe me when I tell you, probably most of the Japanese people didn't want any part of that war.
Yeah, but World War II was a nation state versus nation state.
But Carl, it
this is
doesn't
about,
matter. We're in a new world now.
I agree, but I think
Okay,
it's
we're
very
being
important
attacked
in order
by
to
a group. We're being attacked by a group.
Right, but go
But,
ahead.
but, but it is a subset of a group. We need to make certain.
Muslim.
We need to make certain that we divorce the vast bulk of Muslims from the extremists and the radicals who are behind this, behind terrorism. Because,
We also need to define that there is a problem in the Muslim world.
absolutely, and when
That
you
these
say
people
Muslim
couldn't
extremists
exist.
and Muslim fanatics,
Right.
and when
But
you attack the
Muslim terrorists
Wahhabists,
and
we're doing
killers
that.
couldn't exist, could not exist. All right, if all the moderate Muslims would join America against them, and that is
Sure.
what we refuse to confront. And
Right.
I'm
Well,
tired of it.
And you made it very clear with your talking points last night, and it looked like they were on those two ladies were on a hair trigger anyway.